Hello and welcome to Viewpoints. My name is Rick Harlow. I'm here with Captain Lito Ignacio, and we're going to talk about his thesis, Subway Chemical Detection. Welcome, Lito.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Rick. Glad to be here. The thesis is a system process where I proposed a methodology on how transit authorities and homeland security professionals can design and integrate and implement a chemical detection capability to warn folks of a chemical release in a subway. It was based a lot on the fact that subway mass transit is a huge vulnerability in the United States. The 1994 Tokyo sarin nerve agent attack is the last case that we know of against a mass transit environment, but it created such a chaotic environment. But also the fact that if you look at analogously bombings of subway mass transit in London, Moscow, and Madrid, clearly mass transit is a huge vulnerable target that terrorist groups will look at because of the mass casualty effects and the effects of critical infrastructure.
And how did you go about conducting your methodology?
I did a policy analysis. I looked at literature on this topic, and frankly, there wasn't much of any. There was some review of modeling chemical threats or chemical releases in a subway system, but there was no literature that really talked about how you can create a process to come up with chemical detection. Standard practice right now is for chemical detection, if you're interested in chemical detection in a subway or other venues, is to simply call some vendors that sell chemical detection systems, and then relying on those vendors' claims to then place those detectors in a subway. But without doing the necessary risk assessments, without identifying or clarifying which performance specifications are on how well or how effective those detection capabilities ought to perform, without a test or evaluation plan, and also how do you tie the detectors to a concept of operations plan on how to respond if those detectors go off, then you're essentially approaching chemical detection blindly. And it can result in gaps in how you create that capability in a subway. So so what I'm proposing is an efficient method, yet effective method of comprehensively addressing this chemical detection design.
By using off-the-shelf technology?
Primarily, right. So because although the military has chemical detection capabilities, they are often very expensive and not readily available to transit authorities. So really the only option transit authorities have is commercially available. Mm-hmm. So the thesis is how to work within the current market of the suite of chemical detection capabilities out there.
So you determined that there was a threat, there is an issue towards this type of attack in mass transit, right, and then found a way of mitigating that.
Right, or suggesting basically a protect system. You know, so you have the four pillars of homeland security, and really this addresses the protect. So the detect to warn capability. So the thesis attempts to address that particular pillar, which is the protect pillar, and find ways of warning folks that a chemical release has occurred in a subway system. It does not mean that the chemical detection capability will prevent any loss of life or injury, because clearly if you're very, very close within that chemical release, you're probably going to get deaths and injuries. But at least the warning system will save additional lives.
An early alert.
Right, an early alert capability. Mm-hmm.
All right, well, anything else that you'd like to add?
No, my intent of the thesis is really to provide this guidance document to the transit authorities at the state and local level, as well as to other homeland security professionals in the federal level, to be able to take this process that I'm proposing and implement it based upon the literature or lack of literature thereof regarding this topic.
Thanks, Lito, very much for that discussion of an interesting topic.
Yeah, thanks so much, Rick.